we need to move on from January 6th. I say no. You don't move on because January 6th was an atrocity. It was one of the worst moments in American history. And when you think about the worst moments in American history, like World War II.
The geniuses at The View strike again. Sunny Hostin says something absolutely ridiculous that everyone is once again talking about. Let's see what she has to say this time.
False claims of election fraud that blew up into the January 6, 2021 insurrection. Now, hours from now, Vice President Harris will fulfill her duty to certify the 2024 election. And she gave this message to the American people. Take a look.
The peaceful transfer of power is one of the most fundamental principles of American democracy. Today at the United States Capitol, I will perform my constitutional duty as Vice President of the United States to certify the results of the 2024 election. As we have seen, our democracy can be fragile, and it is up to then each one of us to stand up for our most cherished principles.
President Biden also penned an op-ed warning about the unrelenting effort to rewrite and even erase the history of that day. So is that what happened here? I mean, we all watched.
Yep.
I think most of us saw. I mean, some folks still say that's not what happened, but but what do we do?
I think we need to find moral clarity, in this country. And I just remember after January 6th, you had someone like Mitch McConnell placing the blame on January 6th where it belonged, squarely on Donald Trump's shoulders. And then you started seeing people backtrack that and losing their moral center. You had Condoleezza Rice, I believe, on this very show saying, we need to move on from January 6th. I say no. You don't move on because January 6th was an atrocity. It was one of the worst moments in American history. And when you think about the worst moments in American history, like World War II.
The clapping seals in the audience clapping at that ridiculous nonsense. If we could just move on from the assassination attempts on Trump's life, why can't we move on from January 6th? Because I think those two things were way worse than January 6th.
Things that happened, like the Holocaust, chattel slavery. We need to never forget because past becomes prologue if you forget any race.
I want to ask you, Alyssa, because watching your evolution, when you look back, what goes through your mind?
I've been thinking a lot about this. I'll always be proud of Mike Pence for doing the right thing, but it's also an incredibly low bar. It's simply fulfilling the Constitution, just as Kamala Harris is going to do today, as Al Gore did before her. People have lost, and they've put the Constitution over their political ambitions. I have to say, I think there were warning signs, though, that we would be where we are today. And most Americans were not comfortable with January 6th. They thought it was bad. They thought it was awful. But for 4 years, they said, guys, we are hurting. The cost of living is too high. We are concerned about the border. I predicted here 6 months ago we were careening to Donald Trump's inauguration. People needed to listen that, yes, democracy matters, but if you can't pay your bills, it's hard to care about something as nebulous as democracy. And I think that the warning signs were there. And I say this with due respect to Joe Biden. I didn't disagree with a word he said in that op-ed, but people were saying, we have concern about your age. He waited till August and then gave Kamala Harris this runway to run for president. All the warning signs were there. This was Democrats. They had the chance to stop Donald Trump from being inaugurated. And here we are. But I hope people don't. I hope the whitewashing of January 6th ends. It wasn't right. It never will be, no matter how much people lie about it. But this was avoidable in my mind.
Well, and I think that it's an important thing is to commemorate it every year in a way, not to compare it to 9/11, because, again, it's not an equivalent. But there are people alive today, including my niece, that didn't know 9/11. So when you talk...
So the high IQ ladies here at The View, Sunny Hostin, high IQ Sunny Hostin strikes again, comparing January 6th to things like the Holocaust and World War II and all of these other horrible things in history. I'll never stop bringing up the BLM riots when it comes to the conversation January 6th. I know the liberals, they get pissed off about that. They don't like it when you bring that up. But it's absolutely appropriate. Why is one worse than the other? There was way more damage done with the BLM riots. way more lives lost in the BLM riots. The only life lost on January 6th was of Ashley Babbitt's, and of course the liberals don't care. They're all about police brutality unless it's against like a MAGA supporter. Then all of a sudden, oh, police brutality, oh, okay, yeah, whatever. It's all about personal responsibility. Oh yeah, and unless it's a MAGA supporter, then yeah, okay, whatever. But if January 6th is just as bad as 9/11 and the Holocaust and all these other things, then what does that make the BLM riots then? What does that make that? These liberal lefties are full of crap.
Talk to anyone that was alive during that time, you have a visceral fear response that takes you back there. January 6th and watching the videos that were playing out on screen, it shook you to the core.
Absolutely.
There will be a time when people will not know this unless they read about it, unless they're taught it. And hopefully we continue to show video every year on January 6th, because I won't tell you how to feel. You just watch that video and you tell me what you see. And I think it's also a reminder of how political and partisan the country's gotten to a dangerous point, because there's got to be an out of bounds, regardless of what party you're on. And I know a ton of people that are not rewriting this, that may have voted for Donald Trump, that are lifelong Republicans, who still say January 6th was a disgrace. So it is one thing that we can all agree on and need to remember every anniversary.
What do you think, Anna?
I'm incredibly grateful to the January 6th committee. I'm incredibly grateful to the members of that committee, including Liz Cheney and Adam Kinzinger, the two Republicans who agreed to serve on it, because no matter how much they try to rewrite it, erase.
So in other words, yeah, we need to rewrite history so future generations could pretty much put this up there with the Holocaust and 9/11 and such. Because there's people who weren't alive for 9/11. So we need to tell them, no, trust us. This was just as bad as 9/11. Well, listen, I am old enough to, I'm old enough to have experienced 9/11 and January 6th. And I can tell you, it wasn't the same thing. I did not get that same sense of fear or dread or terror watching January 6th than I did 9/11. I don't condone January 6th. I will never condone January 6th. I do agree January 6th was not good. It was bad. But to put it on the level of 9/11 or even the Holocaust, no, I'm sorry. It's not the same. I could tell you from experience, it is not the same. I was actually scared on 9/11. I was actually afraid. What's going to happen next? Are they going to attack other buildings? We didn't feel safe. And you know what? The American people, we felt so unsafe that we allowed them to do the Patriot Act, which took away some of our privacy rights. We allowed them to take away a lot of our privacy rights and run our airports, crappy now, because we were so scared for 9/11. But apparently, the people are so scared about January 6th, and it was so terrible, we voted the guy back in. So tell me, how does that make any sense? How can you say January 6th was so bad and we were so scared of January 6th when we voted the guy back in? Sound off in the comment section below. Subscribe to my channel if you enjoy content like this. Let's continue.
It, whitewash it, just lie about it. The truth is in that report, and it will stand. It will stand the test of time. I'm also very grateful to Joe Biden and Kamala Harris for putting democracy first, Constitution first. A few days ago, Kamala Harris was swearing in as vice president. She swears in the newly elected senators. It included senators like Ted Cruz. It included senators like Dave McCormick from Pennsylvania, who attacked her. But you see, it's not about her. It's about the Constitution.
And every vice president
democracy.
does that.
And she's going to perform her duty today. And she's not just the vice president. She's also the woman who lost to Donald Trump. But she is a mature adult, not a toddler having a tantrum. She is a leader who understands that it is country first. She's going to go to the swearing in and watch him swear in, unlike
something that he did not do
in 4 years.
I think we've been missing something, if I could say real quick. We're missing something in the moment, though. I heard from a lot of people, because I've testified before the committee, I've testified before the Department of Justice. I met a lot of people who are like, we'll never like January 6th. It was never okay, but they were still voting on the issues that impact them the most. And I think it's very hard if someone says, I had more money when this person was in office, to say, but you have to care about democracy, or you have to care about the attack on the Capitol.
Well, you do, because if you don't have a democracy, you're not going to be getting you're not going to get the. I mean, we'll never probably ever agree on this because Joe Biden, you know, the guy who's in now is now the oldest cat. I haven't heard anybody say anything about his cognitive.
I did throughout the whole campaign. I said they're both too old.
Well, you know, but to say he should have gotten out earlier, I don't know that anybody knows when somebody should have done something. That's all. Now, for me, it's all in the past. The things that were concerning these folks did not concern me, and the things that were concerning me did not concern these folks. So there were lots of reasons why this happened. I just say it happened, and now we move forward. However, I do want to say that with all this attempt to erase stuff, you're really hoping that people are going to willingly be stupid. You want people to, because there's a lot to really take in here. There's the fact that you've been 12... what is it? Indictments. I mean, there's a lot to.
34.
You know,
Yeah,
so there's a lot that you will want people to forget.
Counts. Can I ask you, what do you think will happen with this country when and if Donald Trump fulfills his promise to exonerate, basically, and pardon those that committed crimes, including assaulting police officers on January 6th. He says he's going to do that on day one.
Yeah, well,
in an effort to basically erase what happened.
I know, but, you know, this is what he says he's going to do. Let us see if he is able to do it. I don't know that he's going to be able to do it, or how it's going to sit with the American people.
Yeah.
That's the tricky part for him.
Yes.
Because he doesn't know
how people will react to that.
You know what's incredibly ironic, though, is that a lot of these people, a lot of these elected Republicans who are trying...
Oh, shut the F up. You know, after Joe Biden pardoned Hunter and all these people, retroactive pardons, by the way, he didn't pardon Hunter for one crime. He pardoned him for 10 years worth of crimes and potential crimes. So none of this whole, pardoning people, no. You can't complain about that anymore. You guys have lost that. You guys lost that. In terms of Kamala Harris, like, not throwing a tantrum and stuff, the only reason the Democrats aren't throwing a tantrum and are, like, kind of making this as easy as possible is not because they want to. It's because they've been defeated. They got nothing left. They got nothing. They tried everything. They've tried everything and they lost. And they know that they've lost and they got nothing left. So right now, the Democrats are in their regrouping period. They're re-strategizing. And that's the only reason why they're going along with this peaceful transitioning and stuff, is because they got nothing else left. It's not because they're good people or because they care about democracy and all that. No, they don't. Because they got nothing left. So we got people, we got Charlie Kirk right here responding to Sunny Hostin's ridiculous comments, comparing it to the Holocaust and such. You know, this is not a clip from 4 years ago or even 4 months ago. Sunny Hostin this morning compares J6 to World War II, the Holocaust, and slavery. And then he quotes her, J6 was one of the worst moments in American history, like World War II, the Holocaust, slavery, with 2 clown emojis. Because that's exactly what this is. And then we have, Arch Kennedy here saying the same thing. Meanwhile, The View's Sunny Hostin compares January 6th to the Holocaust and slavery, calling it an atrocity that must never be forgotten, with a crying laughing emoji. And then he puts this right here with a Norm Macdonald tweet, R.I.P. I loved when the violent terrorists made sure to respect the velvet ropes in Statuary Hall. Yeah. See, and this is the stuff that all those people overlook. This was a majority of what was going on. Like, yes, was there violence that day? Yes. Was there attack on police? Yes. And all those people should be punished. I agree with that. But there were some people that were just there walking around who are going to be serving, who didn't cause any damage, that are serving time in jail. It's ridiculous. And then we have Laverne Spicer. Dear Sunny Hostin, how the F you fix your mouth to say January 6th was like World War II, the Holocaust, and slavery? Bitch. 75 to 85 million people died in World War II. 6 million Jews died in the Holocaust. 12.8 million Africans were stolen from their homeland and sold into slavery. But only one person died on January 6th, and that was Ashley Babbitt, a Republican, shot in the back by a Democrat. What was the police officer a Democrat? I mean, I don't know. Most likely he was, but we don't know that. I don't know. We just know that she was shot by a cop. So I'm going to have to ask you to kiss my black ass in Macy's window, bitch. SHIT talk like yours is why y'all lost the mother effing election in the first place. Ain't nobody trying to hear y'all's January 6th BS no more. Sir, you're tired high yellow ass down and be quiet for the next 4 years. Trump got this. I mean, yeah, absolutely. Listen, what do we expect from the ladies at The View at this point? We all know very low IQ, never have any good or base takes, hardly ever. Finding a base take from The View is like trying to find a needle in a haystack. But what do you guys think about that? Sound off in the comment section below. Smash that like button, subscribe to my channel if you enjoy content like this. And if you do enjoy content like this, I got a whole bunch more goodies for you on the screen to click away and enjoy.